All right, guys. So Diablo 4 is in the best state it's ever been in. Let's check it out.
So the server slam just ended, and there's one thing that I really wanted to address, and that is a lot of your comments as well as a lot of the posts out there talking about after server slam. If you guys were not tracking the community, when the server slam began, the community was full of people complaining, at least those.
Because I think it's hilarious. The game has never even been live. So it's impossible for it. I mean, it's supposed to be in the best state ever prior to launch.
Those were the loud voices due to some of, well, pretty much all of the different nerfs. People were not happy about the legendary drops. People were not happy about the necromancer changes. People were not happy about, in general, the changes.
So the only thing, so there shouldn't have been any nerfs or buffs to the game at all, period. Full stop, full send, no conversation. There should have been no changes to the game until after the game went live, prior to the release of Season 1. The only thing that was different or was okay was the changes to legendary drop rate because they were increased for the beta. But other than that, there should have never been any balance changes, tweaks, or anything done to the game until after players were able to get close to the end game prior to Season 1, and then the first round of buffs and nerfs should have went out prior to Season 1. Full stop, full send, no questions asked.
Is made to the classes. I personally found them to be more enjoyable, so I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened and whether or not that was a select portion of the community, and it looks like it was. So this video I put out yesterday about the final review.
That's true, though. I mean, like, you knew Sam and Dean couldn't die, so that took away a lot of the like, concern the whole time. Because when you know your main characters can't die, then... And then even when they do die, they just come back. That took away a lot.
You basically, to sum up this review, I think the game's at an 8.5 out of 10. Me personally, my enjoyment went up this last server slam due to the game feeling a little bit more difficult, and
So, like, for me, the server slam didn't change my feeling of the game whatsoever. Actually, it lessened my ability to decide if I liked the game because we were only allowed to play to level 20 instead of level 25, which was still very far from the level cap. On top of that, the buffs and nerfs don't really matter other than the nerfs that hit Necro that made Necro almost unplayable. Until we get to the end of the game, it doesn't matter. So Server Slam, the only reason I played it, the only reason a lot of people played Server Slam was to get the Ashava horn. Other than that, most people didn't care whatsoever.
Personally prefer that. And basically,
man up, I'm going to play it with my... I'm going to play completely turned around looking at my green screen. Dude, I'm happy they're fixing the skellies. That's something needed to happen.
This entire...
I mean, that's the only reason anybody played time.
Your video, there was a decent portion of dislikes because people disagreed with me. And that's totally fair. But the comments are, generally speaking, very, very positive about the game. Have to say, it's been a long time since I played a beta for multiple weekends. Can't wait for launch. I think the Druid and Bar will be much stronger because they did do a lot of buffs to the Druid and...
Druid and Barb will be stronger. Everybody knew they were going to be weak in the beta because their kit doesn't really fully extend until they get later into the game.
And Barb, which is very, very good, crazy good game. Diablo 2 was my favorite game. Diablo 4 has much fun as the rest of the acts. It has been with Act 1 in the latest beta, then it'll be moved to the top of my list. The game is awesome. Have to disagree with the Barb, but had a blast playing Weekend. It's just been positive comment after positive comment. And this is really, really interesting to me because what this means is...
It's not interesting to me. I'm going to listen to what he says, but typically shit like this is an echo chamber, right? Like, if you're talking positive about the game, a lot of like-minded people are going to show up. They're going to talk positive about it. If the game is not in a bad state, you're not going to get a lot of just outright people that hate the game for no reason. Also, the game is still prior to release.
Either A, the major criticism was that the Necromancer was too, or the skeleton specifically for the Necromancer was too weak.
And they were, because the game should have never had its classes buffed and nerfed based on the beta.
And if that's the case, well, props to the developers because they fixed that almost immediately.
Because it was a bad decision. They had to have known it was going to be a bad decision. And if it was that easy to fix that fast, they had to have been ready to fix it going into it, knowing that it was probably not going to work. So they needed to be able to revert it super fast.
And I'll talk about this
just so they could give that feeling of we're listening by making a change, just to have to roll it back.
Just in a bit. But on top of that, that also means that potentially we had a lot of very loud voices within the community. Now, for those that weren't monitoring Reddit or the Twitter or comments, etc., I made a post about the first impressions and how I said the changes were really good. One of the biggest criticisms that people had was the Necromancer felt terrible, and also the legendary drops felt terrible, and also in general, they liked the previous iteration of Diablo 4 better.
So the Necro felt terrible. That's fine. We know that. The drop rate felt bad. You're playing on World Tier 1/World Tier 2, sub-level 20. You shouldn't get any legendary drops. Literally doesn't matter. This is just people bitching to bitch.
If you look at the Reddit today and you go around and look at some comments,
I get it. I get it, Time. Like, I get the Necro needed to be fixed, but the Lego rate, it's sub-level 20. Like, you shouldn't be seeing Legos at all. When you're on World Tier 3, World Tier 4, World Tier 5, you should start to see them more from higher tier monsters and more elites and stuff like that. But you're just fighting trash mobs in those early farming levels.
Posts are extremely positive. It's literally post after post after post, and this makes me think that the people that didn't like the new version of Diablo 4, they rolled up, started playing Diablo 4, and immediately went to Reddit to complain. And then anyone that was actually playing and enjoying Diablo 4 were too busy playing and enjoying Diablo 4 to come on Reddit or to go on the comment section, etc. I know that was me personally. I didn't really bother going around and checking all the different things. Obviously, I did make videos, so I was in the loop about things, but me personally.
So I'm going to jump in here really quick, and I hate when people, like, things like Reddit and Twitter are great bellwethers to sort of understand, like, some of what's going on, but they don't represent the majority of your gamers. The majority of your gamers are never going to get on Reddit. They're never going to tweet about the game. They're never going to leave a YouTube comment. They're probably never going to like a video. More than likely, they're not even going to subscribe to your channel. They're going to get in. They're going to play it. They're going to have fun with it. And that's all it's going to matter. So, like, I get the Reddit stuff. Like, I mean, I go to Reddit to look at comments and sometimes make videos based off of Reddit. But I think a lot of people need to remember that the majority of gamers are not on Reddit. The majority of gamers are not in Twitter. That's a good place to go see what the hardcores are doing. But the majority is not those people.
I don't
just
personally
as an
care
FYI.
enough to go through reading posts or commenting. I just make my videos. So this is pretty funny, and I think that a lot of the posts here I want to talk a bit about because they do reflect a lot of my thoughts here. And the first one is going to be this post about the difficulty.
Okay.
And a few things in this one. Basically, they go on to say that Diablo 3 was far too easy, and they played the server slam, and they had felt that you had to make certain decisions to stay alive, and you weren't just one-shotting bosses. And this is a very, very, very interesting thing because they mentioned playing Sorcerer in Diablo 3. So assuming they played Sorcerer in Diablo 4, one of the key skills that got nerfed was chain.
So I think that, and it's no like shit against this Reddit user. Playing Diablo 3 on World Tier 1 with no anything, or World Tier, or like, you know, going through the difficulty scales, it's not supposed to be hard. This is World Tier 1, and I don't think it was that hard. I played on Tier 1 and I played on Tier 2. I didn't have any problems with anything at all. So I don't know. We need to get to the end of the game before we say if Diablo 4 feels easy or not. Thank you for that, Isa. I just think that we need to get to the end of the game. I think saying the game feels like just the right difficulty is premature.
Chain Lightning and Hydra. Chain Lightning got a pretty massive damage decrease, and Hydra got a 60% damage decrease. And yet both those skills, after playing the Sorcerer, still felt really good.
I actually heard that everybody was switching to Fireball because Fireball is broken now.
Chain Lightning specifically still felt like the strongest boss DPS skill in terms of just straight up single target. If there's no other people around, Chain Lightning still did the most damage in terms of a core skill. Hydra still does more damage per mana cost than almost any core skill in the game, assuming you're getting the full duration on it. So these skills still felt good, which goes to show you how strong Sorcerer was before, considering it's a 60% DPS nerf for the Hydra.
Right.
And so finding that the boss fights were a lot easier and I didn't just roll up and one-shot them as the Sorcerer was far, far better in my experience. It was a much more enjoyable experience.
I played on a rogue, and I played Poison Rogue, and I had no problems. Solo on any boss, I didn't have any problems. The only time I actually had problems was when I was playing with other people because of the scaling. Do you know what I mean? Tabreya. Thank you very, very, very much for the resub. Thank you for the tier 3. Thank you for the 22 months. Thank you for the support, friend. Thank you for supporting me. And thank you for supporting the channel. I need to move some stuff because that wasn't in the right spot. Alert box. Unlock. Alert box needs to be up there. There we go. Much better. Thank you very, very, very much, Frian. Your face is in the right spot. I'm trying to make it in the right spot. Trying to move things around. You know what I mean? How are you, Frian?
Granted, as someone who wants to level up and get the experience out and make videos for you all, it was slower for sure, but that necessarily wasn't a bad thing. Me personally, as I've said, I like the higher difficulty. Now for those...
I didn't have any problems leveling up. Like, I leveled up at the same speed. I played on World Tier 2. Very rarely, if ever, did I die prior to Shava. Everything felt fine. Like, I didn't have the issues that a lot of people were having. Thank you for crafting minds, and thank you for lurking.
Those of you that played the previous iterations of Diablo 4, one of the biggest reasons why the game felt more difficult and very much more engaging, in my opinion, was that the legendary drops were massively decreased from the previous betas.
You had build issues playing the rogue. All you got to do, I only had 2 skills on my rogue and poison. That was all I did. And my rogue was a beast.
It looks to be around a 300% increase is what we...
The big thing you have to remember, especially in the early game for Diablo, is having a bunch of skills isn't helping you out. You just need to maximize the 1 or 2 skills you have.
We were getting beforehand, and now we are at normal drops, which means that at level 20, which is when we got to max level, I didn't have a single legendary item. In fact, I didn't get my first legendary until about 6 hours into the game.
He got very unlucky. If he got his first legendary 6 hours in. Because I think I had 2 or 3 legendaries on my rogue, and I only played my rogue right to level 20, fought a Shava, logged out.
And obviously the earlier levels, you
were doing cold damage? Yeah, for rogue, I went poison, poison bow, and that's all it took.
Really drop any legendaries. Even in the previous versions, it took me to about level 12 or so to get my first legendary, unless I got a treasure goblin. So the first hour or 2 of gameplay, you weren't getting legendaries anyways. But as we got to like level 13, I was getting a legendary about every level in the previous beta. So I know they said 300%, but part of me thinks that it was even more increased. And by the time I ended the beta, which had about...
I could see that. Hopefully it's better for you. Hopefully it's better for you in the full game. No more legendaries in beta. I didn't have that much of an issue.
13 hours of rogue gameplay, maybe more than that. I'm not 100% sure.
13 hours? I had three legendaries on my rogue.
I got 4 or 5 legendaries total on my rogue. And
you got 5 legendaries on your rogue prior to grinding base level up to level 20 and then grinding legendaries. You're playing... I think people forget that you're playing through the leveling stage of the game on the easiest world tiers there are, tier 1 and tier 2. This sounds right.
And 4 of those were from
Judge was on another level. I mean, that happens.
The legendary drop from like monsters in the game entirely. Keep in mind that I didn't do any of the core dragon farming. I didn't spend time farming. I was just interested in...
I didn't spend time farming. I literally just ran through the campaign, did 2 dungeons, and then went to fight a Shava.
Playing and seeing how...
And I did any world events that I walked by.
The game would be, because we're not going to be doing corpse farming or chest farming at level 20. It's just not going to happen in the live game. So I didn't bother doing it. And in that case, this really, really did feel like each legendary was massively important. And this post here,
It didn't feel like it was massively important. To me, because half the time you would get a legendary and it would drop for a skill that you weren't even fucking using.
He did not, the new Diablo 4 did not.
You were farming the outpost 30 plus. See, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any of that. I beat a Shava with a level 20 that I literally just took through the game.
Feel like Diablo 3 at all, which was crazy. And they say they felt like Diablo 2. Now, I didn't play a ton of Diablo 2 myself, so I don't know if I can relate a ton, but they said they didn't find a single legendary for 15-hour entire day of playing, and then Core Dragon ruined the vibe. Well, there you go. I did not do any of that, but no one's going to be doing this in the live game, so this doesn't really matter too much. And those small rare upgrades.
I'm having a pretty good day. Pretty good day. It's nice. It's relaxing, chill. We're doing some Diablo 4 news and reacts, and then we're gonna play some Tears of the Kingdom. Able to use kept dropping at 21 plus. Yeah, because you were in a higher tier area. That sucks.
And the legendary drops actually felt.
But the thing was, you weren't supposed to use them. You were supposed to get them to drop and then take their legendary power and then put it on a different piece of gear.
Rewarding. This is huge. So,
how you doing, Crowley?
When I was playing in the previous betas, any legendary I dropped, I was like, oh, new legendary salvage or new legendary sell. I didn't really care too much because we got so many of them. And even the rare items, I was like, oh, well, I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'm not really getting any upgrades. But in this iteration, it was absolutely true. Even yellows were hard to come by. And the second point they made is that the game was way harder and slower paced.
It was not. I did not have a fucking issue one in the beta. It was not slower. I didn't have any issues. I had no issues.
Due to this. Absolutely.
I didn't struggle either. I thought the beta was super easy. Like, went through it, got my stuff, didn't care if I got legendaries or not, still beat a Shava, GG, turned it off.
Absolutely. And I think this is a really, really nice feeling for Diablo 4. I will say that this is a lot less casual oriented.
Getting a new power supply? How are you doing? Dude, I'm really far on Planet Crafter. I didn't really have any issues. They said most of the lag spike stuff was from AMD processors. T2 felt normal. That's what I said. I played the entire game on T2 up to the point where I did a Shava. I dropped a Shava to T1. Cleared it first shot. Other than that, I played the entire thing from start till I logged off on T2. Had no problem. So, AMD is about, not Planet Crafter, AMD for Diablo 4. No issues with D4. I had a little bit of stuttering, but nothing major. It felt pretty good.
Oriented, meaning it's not more arcade style like Diablo 3 was.
Diablo 3 was more arcade.
A lot more often, and you're just running through the game pretty simply. But I personally really, really enjoy this.
You're going to, by the time D4 gets to the end, you're going to run through the game just like you do any of the other ones.
And one thing I want to note, because of the criticisms that people have made, there's two posts here that I want to note. A lot of people complain about.
No, Sparks, this is it. All you're going to get is me doing news and react content for a couple more weeks, right? We got about 2 more weeks. And then I won't even be able to play the day it launches due to surgery.
The Necromancer. And a lot of people were a little wary about the difficulty and the new changes to legendary drops. But I will say that if there's a mass reaction to these things, and these are just my opinions in the video at the end of the day, if you guys disagree, like a lot of you disagree with how the Necromancer summoning felt. I personally find that the problems with the summons weren't actually the HP, at least from what I've played of it. It was more of the fact that summoning builds don't really have much support in Diablo 4. And the way the skill system's broken down, summons are kind of screwed over in general.
Nobody knows if the summons are going to be good or not. You can look at kind of like what's there, but making any single assessment off of the first 20 to 25 levels of gameplay is bad. No nerfs, no buffs should happen until after the game goes live and we get closer to the first season after people have been able to player test everything. Because I don't care how good something is on paper. If people can't play it, then it's not good. Do you know what I mean? So that's just my thought.
Overall, I wanted to just make this video to talk about the beta and how we are shaping up for the future and how the community opinion has changed from literally the beginning of the beta to the end, at least in terms of what we can see. My thoughts are a lot of the negative community was very loud at the beginning because all the positive community was just playing the beta. We were just playing the game, guys, and we got blasted by people who didn't want to play the game and had time to spend on Reddit. For those of you like me, I literally was playing. I launched the game at 12 or 1 a.m. my time, or 1 p.m. my time is when the game started. I played until about 9 p.m., took a break, came back at like 11 p.m., continued to play up until like 5 a.m. in the morning when I.
So when it came to the beta, I actually, for Server Slam, I didn't play that much of it because I did go really hard on the previous 2 betas, and none of the content carried over. None of the sort of progress carried over. And there are a lot of really good games out right now that make it hard to just focus down all of my energy on a beta. I understand that a lot of people did, and a lot of people enjoyed it, and a lot of people were very, very hyped for it. But I didn't. I probably played 6+ hours, 6, maybe 8-9 hours of the beta, which is still an incredible amount of the beta. But I didn't like no life it. You know what I mean? Like none of the shit carries over. So I had fun with it, and I just didn't want to burn out before Diablo 4 comes out. But no, I was really actually disappointed that our progress from this beta wouldn't carry over because it's so close to the live game. With the Lego drop rates and everything, they should have just let us carry it over. That would have probably got more people involved. If people could have made 5 level 20s that carried over into the launch of the game, I think you would have got more people involved. Buttspots Beast, that's where it came from. But guys, let me know what you think. I think this was definitely sort of a baity title, and Diablo 4 is in the best state it's ever been. Diablo 4 is not in any state. We've only played the beta. The beta should improve after every beta. That's why they have them. Let's wait and see how the game launches. The game should launch in the best state it's ever been in because it's the only state it's ever been in. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Let me know how much of Server Slam you played, what you enjoyed, what you're looking forward to. And as always, have a great day.